Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make your starburst shape. You can use a ruler if you like, that's what I would suggest, but you don't have to. It's just kind of a and I don't know if I want straight edges. That could be a little bit harder. So I'm going to come in and adjust that a little bit. And I'm going to adjust that a little bit. Now the more points you have in your shape, the more edges you're going to have going down. So you're going to be doing more shading. So if you want less work, if you're nervous, don't make as many points, okay? Then I'm going to put an X down here. I'll eventually erase it. But that's my vanishing point, okay? So all of my points right now, the little corners of my shapes, I'm very lightly going to draw because eventually I'm going to erase. All of my corners, I'm going to go ahead and trace. Okay, now I'm not going to use all of these. I'm really only going to use the inside ones, but this will give you an idea of what we're doing, okay? Do you see how I'm starting to get those edges? Now I wouldn't see that one, so I don't really need it, but I would see this corner in here. So I'm going to draw that down, and I'm going really light because I'm going to eventually erase everything that's outside here. I'm going to go to this point. I'm barely touching my pencil to the paper. This point. You do need to use a ruler for this part, okay? Don't try to freehand this. It's incredibly difficult to get straight lines, and if you don't get straight lines, I wouldn't see this, so I'll do this one. This one would be outside, so I don't need that. Okay, if you don't have straight lines, you're going to ruin the illusion. Okay, and I wouldn't see these or these. So now you can see I've got all of my lines where I need them, okay? I'm going to erase now everything outside. This is why we're drawing super light, because if you don't draw light, you're going to get ghost lines, okay? Which means that even after you erase, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a thin Sharpie. I like to do thin. I guess it doesn't really matter if it's thick. It can be thick or thin. You want to just make sure that it's black though. And I am going to trace over all of my lines. Again, use a ruler if you want to be precise. Okay. That's what I would do. I'm not going to continue to do that for the video because it would take me too long and then I wouldn't be able to show you the shading part. But make sure to use a ruler when you're doing yours. It will look better, I promise. It will also give the illusion a more realistic feeling when we put it in our photo editing app. Again, I'm doing this just so that I can be speedy for the video, but my suggestion to you is to use a ruler for all of the lines that you make, pencil and otherwise. It's just a lot easier to get nice straight lines, obviously, when you use a ruler. Okay, so that's the outside shape. Now I'm going to go back and trace the lines that I made inside. Now I'm not going to go outside my shape with the Sharpie. I'm only going to go inside my shape. I'm not going to go to my vanishing point again. I'm just tracing the lines that I drew and I'm keeping the lines inside my shape. Now the vanishing point is important because you want everything going to the same spot, the same vanishing point. Otherwise, you're not going to get that perspective. Okay, so here is my jagged hole in my paper. This is without any shading. So now I'm going to go by and I'm going to erase all of my pencil first. Okay, just to clean anything up. Okay, so now it's nice and clean. And I'm going to get an ebony pencil, which is a thicker pencil. It's darker. It's easier to shade. So this corner down here, this is down into the hole and it's going to get lighter as I go up. So I'm going to use my circular strokes and I'm going to overlap and I'm barely pushing. I don't want to push that hard, okay? If you push too hard, you're going to get your stroke marks, and we don't want that. I'm going to come back in with a blending stump. This is just rolled paper. There's no pencil on here. And I'm just going to smooth out my marks, okay? This is going to be darker in here because it's behind this hole here, or this ledge. It's also going to get darker down here. Now see how I'm kind of changing my strokes? I'm going from straight strokes to circular strokes, and I'm just keeping everything on top, okay? Which means I'm overlapping a lot. If you push really hard and you don't overlap, even with the blending stump, you're not going to get rid of your pencil marks, and that's what we want. So I'm going to come back in. Again, this is just rolled paper. You don't have to push hard at all. This just kind of helps me blend everything. It's kind of like when you use your finger to smudge, if you've ever done that when you shade. Okay. But I'm keeping this light because this is coming toward the light. Okay. Same thing here. Get a little darker as I get farther away. Okay. I can kind of pull some of that value out with my blending stump. It just kind of smudges it. And I'm going to keep shading that way. Now these are farther down in, so I'm actually going to make this quite a bit darker. I'm not pushing hard still. This pencil kind of does a lot of the work for you, but I am layering a lot. So I want this to be quite a bit darker. So I'm going to go back over. Okay, and this is going to come, this is coming out like this. So again, this edge is going to be dark, so I'm going to overlap my strokes, kind of change them up a little bit, keep this edge dark here because it's behind this edge. Okay, take my blending stump. Go over all my marks, kind of smudge them out. Remember, there's no pencil on this, so it's not going to add more value. It's just helping you blend your value out. So it's a nice and smooth transition from your lights to your darks. If you don't blend first with your pencil, your blending stump isn't going to do all the work for you. It just can't. Okay? So I'm going to keep doing that until I finish the entire shape.